Hi, this is Ozzy Osbourne speaking to all the people in America. So I'm going to play you some of my brand new album, which is called Bark at the Moon. I want to call your attention to the cover of this album. The album cover is very unique in the respect that we flew a very talented makeup artist all the way from Los Angeles to England to a location where we shot the album cover photographs. And this guy was very professional, very clever at what he did. In fact, to make the album cover, the makeup alone took something like 5 hours to prepare and put on me. I'm sure you're going to be freaked when you see the cover, because I think it's one of the most stunning covers I've ever done anyway. This guy who did the makeup has done a lot of movies, and in fact at the present time he's doing Friday the 13th Part 3. He's been working on that, and he's also done quite a few in the past. I think he's done The Shine. I think he did Sword and the Sorcerer, where the guy rips his head open. So he's done loads of stuff. He's very, very clever. He's very good, and I think he's going to freak a lot of people out, and I hope he freaks you guys out there like he freaked me out anyway.
Well, hello gang. From my collection, 1984 CBS Records demonstration for Ozzy Osbourne. This was recorded and given out to radio stations and things of that sort to help promote the Bark at the Moon album. So here's an interview with Ozzy and bits and pieces of the album. Of course, the album had to cut it out, copyright, and all that nonsense. But here's the full interview. Well, it's Ozzy being Ozzy. What more can you ask for, right? Anyways, let's check it out.
I mean, to come up with the idea of doing an album cover, my wife and I work very hand in hand. As no doubt all you people out there are aware of the articles we've had written together. I've come up with a title and the songs for the album, incidentally, and the title song is also going to be a single, I believe. She is a very big part of the Ozzy Osbourne sort of entourage, and the Ozzy Osbourne image is my wife. She came up with the idea of getting a makeup artist who, I'm very pleased to say, worked out fine. The album itself took a considerable amount of time, not so much time as a lot of weird things happened. It's very funny with an album such like a werewolf thing. It's sort of kind of attracts kind of weird things. I mean, it's like you start messing around with things like that, and I suppose it's like a karma or something. But first of all, like, everybody's wives started to have babies everywhere. I think we increased the population of the band by about 6 kids, during the duration of making this album. We had problems like with getting things, and things wouldn't work when we expected them to work. We'd have a breakdown in the studio. But in all, it took me about 3 or 4 months to complete from actually getting the ideas down and working them out and then putting them on record. Although the album's called Bark at the Moon and it's got a werewolf and the track is about a werewolf and things, the general overall feel through the album is that of what people have made an image of me over the last 2 or 3 years since my departure from Black Sabbath. And especially in the USA, it's like people have branded me as being a forerunner of evil, a Satanist, quite a lot of things I've been called over the last 2 or 3 years over there. But the thing is, rock and roll's my life. Rock and roll is everything, and all it really is what the next track's going to be called. Rock and roll rebel. That's all I really am. That's what the basic thing of all my thing is about. I'm rebellious, and I don't sort of conform to their system so much. That's what rock and roll is to me, and that's what. I'm not saying everybody should go out and start beating on all people, because that's not what I'm trying to say. I mean, what I'm trying to say is be free and have fun. That's what America's about for me, and that's what rock and roll is. The first track off the album I'd like to play for you is the title track, which is called Bark at the Moon. I first got the idea for Bark at the Moon when I was on tour just after the late Randy Rhoads, got tragically killed. And everybody, I thought at that present time, I thought people would lay off a little bit of the old persecution of the Ozzy kind of thing. But in fact, people started to get more sordid and demented in the respect that they thought, I was a part of his death, and all these rumours were going around. But I just thought, well, it's not on. It's just like I was watching a horror movie, and I thought, just go the whole hog, and it's just one of these things. Suddenly one night came to me, and I just wrote the words. It just came to me, and then I got the tune, and it happened. And just have a listen and see what you think, anyway. And that was Bark at the Moon, the title track of my new album, which is called Bark at the Moon. Hope you got a kick out of it. We did. This is Ozzy Osbourne. That was a track of my album Bark at the Moon, which is on Epic Records. That was a track called So Tired. Ah, yes, I can sing when I want to. You'll probably be quite shocked to see that I'm using a string section on that track. And the reason for that, I'm not one of these guys that thinks, I'm heavy metal, I can never use strings. I think that if the song warrants using strings, if it warrants using anything, and it fits the song, then do it. I mean, it's a lovely song. I mean, I wrote that song a long, long time ago, and I always thought it would be nice to do strings, and I thought to myself, yeah, but is it an Ozzy Osbourne thing? Will the people accept it? And when I took it round to Epic Records, which incidentally I've just recently signed to Epic Records, and the people at Epic Records freaked when they heard it, and I thought, wow, you know, this guy's like coming out with all this. I mean, it's different, it's variety, and I think the price of an album now, I'm like one of these guys that I like to think that there's a song on the album for every person, you know. This is Ozzy Osbourne. For you soon, so don't go away. And we sort of come up with the idea. I was a young kid and I'd show the late horror show and get that feeling, that chill fully. And you know when you're at home and you're watching real scary flicks or you listen to something that really makes you feel creepy and you get that funny tickling feeling up your spine. I still get that now when I get something going for myself, and that's what the thing that keeps me going with this thing what I do, this sort of demonic rock and this chilling feeling. I think I have combined with my music what I used to like as a child, which was a horror film, a Dracula, a beast from somewhere else. The kick I get off being frightened, it's a kick all on its own, and I think that's what I try and do really with music. I'm not into any sort of occult or anything like that. I just simply do it for fun. I don't want to freak people out into the respect that they believe that I'm the son of Satan or anything, because I'm not. I'm just a rock and roll rebel. I'm just a guy that rebels against everyone out there and who doesn't want to follow the Ozzy Osbourne army kind of thing. I mean, at least I go out with a guitar, I don't go out with a gun. I go out there to give people good fun, and that's what it's all about. You know, when I first left Black Sabbath, I mean, a lot of people thought, oh, I wonder what Ozzy Osbourne's going to do. He's done it, he's finished, he's all over. And I'm one of these guys, I don't know about you people out there, but when my back's against the wall and everything's sort of crashing towards me, I come out with my best shots, you know. I think that's the spirit of life that I have. I know a lot of people out in the last American tour I did were very freaked out. But I suddenly stopped one day and I suddenly thought to myself, isn't it amazing that people in this day and age still believe a great deal in what they read and what they hear on the TV? For instance, the bat incident where somebody threw the bat, and this is the straight story, this is no fairing around with it. Some guy comes to a concert one night, right? So I'm standing up there doing a gig. Some guy throws a bat, a live one on stage. I think it's one, because I'm always getting kind of dolls, toys, different things thrown. And I picked this bat up in pure innocence, and I thought it was one of these rubber things you can buy from a joke, you know, these shops you can buy. And I bit into it. And from that incident, it's amazing now the snowball got so big that I was going from that town blowing up goats, murdering sheep, slaughtering horses, and it's amazing that word of mouth, that if you go on one end of America and you get to the other and you say a word in everybody's ear, by the time it's got to the other end, it's nothing remotely the same as what you first said. It's like you should all try that. Get all your parents, guys, get them all in a room, get everybody in a crowd and just whisper one word in their ear, and you get around in the circle. I bet you've got something totally different when he gets around the circle. You try it one day. I mean, it got to the point that I was becoming like a public or national threat, and I suddenly thought, if rock and roll can do that, why aren't politicians rock and rollers, you know? Because it's definitely getting through to a lot of people. And it wasn't my doing, it was their doing out there that sort of thought, yeah, what can we make our little bit onto his story? Like, he just bit the bat, he's got rabies, he's bitten the dog, the dog's bitten someone else who's transmitted the rabies from Ozzy, and so on, you know? It was kind of bizarre. It was like, every day I'd go to the next town, for instance, you know, and I'm sure you people out there don't believe this, but it's true. I'd get to the town and I'd stop people and say, what happened last night? And they'd say, oh yeah, you know, you bit the head off this and you threw that in the audience and you stabbed this and you rode his arm off. It was getting to the next town faster than I was. For instance, as we were getting into towns, we were getting rallies outside the gigs and picketing, and I mean, it wasn't just a few people in some places, it was like hundreds of people like crowding the streets and causing all kinds of things. I had lots of threats to my life. I mean, people said they were going to shoot me and kill me, and I thought, have they created something of me bigger than whatever I could have, you know, because that's what happened. People built me into this big, horrible person, which it was kind of a kick at first, because I thought, oh yeah, everybody in America knows who Ozzy Osbourne is, but there comes a point when you've got to say to yourself, am I really doing this for the good? Is it going to turn about face and kick me in the butt, you know? I had created the monster, and the monster had got way out of hand, you know, and I mean, I can assure you that I will never pick anything up on stage again. But I know that when I go on the road, they'll be out in full force, the people with the banners and the stickers. I mean, if they're that concerned, why don't they go and help people that need help? I don't need any help, you know. Now I'm going to play you another track off the album. It's the story of what Ozzy's all about. It's a number called Rock and Roll Rebel. This is Ozzy Osbourne again with my new album, Bark at the Moon. You know, a lot of people, you know, for many years thought I was American. I'm not from America. I'm from, as you can probably tell by my accent, I'm from England. I'm from a place called Aston, spelled A-S-T-I-O-N. in Birmingham. It's a very industrial town where I used to come from, so I suppose that's where the heavy metal influence came from. It was like my father worked in a factory, I worked in a factory, and it was all like smoke and pollution I grew up in. It was very depressing when I was a child. So I think that was my ticket to get out with rock and roll music. I thought, well, aggression in music is better than aggression with fists. My first musical imprint was the Beatles. I mean, I loved the Beatles' melodies and things, I mean, especially Lennon. And You've Really Got Me by the Kinks. Such a raunchy riff, like a guitar lick, you know, and it spread my head against the wall. And I went out and bought a guitar, but I didn't quite happen to the guitar, so I gave that up as a bad job. Then I got an opportunity to play with a couple of local bands. Went out and got myself a very small PA system and a microphone. Started doing bars, weddings, clubs, anything just to play. And then Robert Plant was an influence of mine. Nat Joe Coco, Stevie Winwood, Ray Charles. I think Barbara Streisand's got an amazing voice. But so is the guy in Journey, you know. I can appreciate all forms of music, but I wouldn't necessarily go and buy that record. Although I think Elvis, everybody had a love for Elvis. I mean, Elvis was just fabulous. I mean, he was just like a phenomenon in his own time, you know. It was such a tragic way he went as well, you know. I've never really listened to Linda. Funny enough, people will say, oh, well, what does Ozzy Osbourne here listen to when he's at home? And all I can say is just sort of like a guy that works in a factory, that when he goes home, does he play a tape recording of his machine at work? So when I get home, I like to go fishing, hunting, but not big game like Ted Nugent or anything. I just like sort of rabbit shooting. It's rough shooting and things, to walk around with a gun and a dog, and I like to spend a lot of time with my new baby girl, Amy. She's like an angel in the midst of a black cloud, you know. She's like a breath of fresh air for me, you know. I was married before and I had children from my first marriage, and I felt more like a sort of a rich uncle that used to go on travels and come back bearing gifts from afar, you know. But now Amy's coming with me. She's going to be a part of my life. She's going to spend every day on the road with me, and I'm going to be a proper papa to her, you know. I want to get a good family, and my wife and I, and we're all very close, you know. She's far too young to go to any kind of a concert, let alone the kind of volume I play at. But when she's older and she can sort of handle it, she'll come on, you know. I'll bring her on the stage no doubt one night. In fact, it gives me more of a boost to carry on, because unlike a lot of rock and rollers, they sort of think, oh yeah, I'm great, my name's Ozzy Osbourne, I don't want to go out anymore. The kids say, well, up yours, I'm going to go and find somebody else, you know. And I think that the kids realise that I've been around for a long while, and I am going to stay around for as long as I can until the day comes I say, oh, Ozzy Osbourne, he's a boring old drag now, let's get to somebody else. Eventually it's going to be subsiding in one way or another. I'm going to either be too old to carry on or something like that. But until that day, I mean, I get a lot of fun out of it. When I get on that stage and I see all them excited faces, it's just the greatest thrill of my life, you know. And it never gets boring, it gets better. I still am in communication with a lot of these kids out there, and they know that. I mean, on the first American tour, I must have done, every day I did a show, I must have done 2 in-stores, public appearances. And it was the first time in my whole career that I got to know who was it that was buying my records, and talk to them for a couple of minutes and just find out what, you know, ask them questions, sign an album. Black Sabbath would never do that, you know, because I thought they were gods, which is no one's a god. But the way I write a song is I get a tune going through my head, and I get like a word that flies out. It just comes, I just don't know how it happens. It just materialises in my mind, and I work it around. It's like one word can trigger the whole thing off. It's ever such a funny thing, you know, trying to explain how one does something. Because it's as much of a thrill to me at the end of it to listen to it and think, wow, did that really transform from a thought? It's a great achievement for one to sort of have an idea and put it together, like the first piece of a jigsaw puzzle. I'd like to play the last track on the album. It's a number called Waiting for Darkness. This is Ozzy Osbourne. I do hope you've enjoyed the songs I've been playing for you. I'm dying to see you all at the concert, so please come along and bring your mother and father, and maybe they'll be turned on to Ozzy. See you soon. God bless you.
Well, there you have it now. Shh. Don't tell nobody. It says not for sale on the record, but shh. I bought it many years ago. Now I trust you guys not to call the cops. Now I have more Ozzy vinyl coming for my channel. Now what do I have? Well, you should like and subscribe to my channel, because you never ever know what I have in my collection here that could be next. Anyways, thank you for watching. See you later.